Good evening. Easy. What are you saying? My camera setup is all wrong, so I've got like two screens on the go. It's not gonna go well tonight, but I'm gonna try. And we're live. Wait for a few more people to come in. I have no idea how many people are going to join, but we will soon find out. And then we'll get talking about everything grading. Good topic today. I'm going to enjoy today's topic. It's obviously what I do. It's obviously what I do on a daily basis, so I should enjoy it. But we'll get through a lot of the main talking points, and hopefully there's going to be a few questions around grading. The grading company, should I say, around the grading companies, around turnaround times. We'll talk about the new PSA announcement. We'll talk about the new CSG announcement. We'll talk about the new BGS announcement. The only guys who are not making announcements right now are SGC, really. We'll talk about that too. Been Hartley evening, pal. Buzzing for the June sub to open. Got some big ones coming your way. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. There's some good. My guy, Fora. Evening, Chris. You alright, mate? Just give it a few more minutes, guys, and then we'll actually let me go live on Instagram. Interesting stuff I put in there, and then we'll get moving. I know there's a few things on tonight, so I will not. You know me. I say I'm not. I won't be too long, but it will. But I am. I know there's Card Kings got a case break on, and there's obviously England versus Germany. So I will try and keep it to maximum finishing about 7:15. Yeah, maximum finishing 7:15 because we all want to watch the game, and like I said, Card Kings got a case break on today, so we'll do that. What does this mean for SGC PSA? Oh, Aaron, we're gonna get into it. I don't. We'll get into it. I've got a few thoughts on SGC in this new value tier. Morning, evening, Luke, mate. You okay? Let's go. Do you know what? I can't be asked. Going on Instagram. Fuck it. Let's get into it. Right. Hello, everyone. It's been a while since I've done a proper Tuesday live. So much has changed in the grading landscape. I thought it would be good to just kind of jump on and give everyone an up-to-date view of the main grading companies in the States that everyone's wanting to use. It's questions me and Ronnie get asked literally on a daily basis, if not an hourly basis, on what's going on. And there's so many changes that are happening in the grading world that it's important to everyone to keep up to date, because there's a lot that people don't. I still get people messaging me now thinking that PSA are on a year turnaround, and that these services that they're surprised when I tell them that there's services where you can get the cards back within 4 to 6 weeks. So there's a lot to learn. Well, there's a lot people just don't know because again, we don't really. I've not done many of these videos. I want to try and do more in the near future, but right now, I just wanted to do an overview of PSA, BGS, SGC, and CSG. So we're one of the only guys who offer all services. Most people will only do one, and that's even in the States. There's not everyone who, even in the States, they'll only do PSA. They might do SGC, but there's not many who will do all four. We're trying to do all four. Again, it might not stick. We never know. But there's the demand there, and right now, what we're doing, me and Ronnie, or Ronnie and I. We're looking at the data and looking at where people are going. We've got an interesting column, if you can see my screen, on what services people are using, and it's growing. It keeps growing month on month, and since probably about February time, each month something new's happened. So either PSA have opened a new tier, cards are coming back quicker, prices are changing, BGS are coming back into the fold. Every month something different happens, and the good thing about it, the good thing about the current landscape is that they're now competing against each other. So PSA are going to be competing against BGS, SGC are competing against CSG, and all that means for us is that we're going to get cards back quicker and they're going to be cheaper. For me, the reason why we offer all four major grading companies, or the reason why we will offer all four, is because I see benefit in all four. It's not just a smash and grab of, oh well, everyone's doing, everyone wants every service, so we might as well do every service. It's not that. I actually genuinely see benefit in all four, which I'll go through today, and I'm sure Ronnie will pick me up on anything if I miss anything. Evening, Joe. You okay? So what we'll start with is pricing. So I've updated my pricing. It's the first price increase that I've done, and just mainly because of the way the world is working at the moment. Everything's becoming more expensive. FedEx is becoming more expensive. Packaging is becoming more expensive. And I was the lowest. I still am the lowest with all the grading fees across all the things. But it's one of those where I've tried to keep it as low as possible for as long as possible. But I've had to increase the fees. Now, don't be worried, because there's going to be things that I'm going to be doing which will help bring the cost down. Opening a membership this week, which is going to help bring costs down. Each month is going to be a discount on one of the four grading companies. So where there's always going to be something where you'll be able to save money, and I'm pretty sure we will always be at a good price point. Plus, obviously, I hope that people enjoy the service, so that's an added benefit, which it seems like people are. So as you can see on the left hand side of the screen is the new pricing. So it's risen about 5%, and again, it's not absolute as well. So if prices start to come down, then my fees will come down, because again, the more cards that we get in, the better. So one of the major reasons for the price change actually was the exchange rate. So when the prices were first set, it was around 23 pounds. For example, SGC was £23 to grade a card, and I think I did 27. Yeah, and the price previously was £27. So gross profit was like £4 difference. That the exchange rate just over the past like 3-4 months is really changed. So it's now 24. I think it's £24, which was $30. So it was about £24. So even just that, I had to raise the exchange. I had to raise my pricing due to that. But again, you'll see a lot of things this week where you probably actually won't see that much of a change in terms of the pricing, but I just want to be clear. Always clear, transparent, nothing to hide at all. Happy to answer any questions on that. And like I said, it's always going to be that we're competitive on pricing, because the aim is to get as many people grading as possible. It's not to outprice anyone just for a quick quid. There's other things that are going to come into play, which I think, like I said, you won't see the pricing change that much. So there you go. So for people who are regular submitters for me, there's the new list. I will be sending this out in a newsletter as well tomorrow, maybe Thursday. Tomorrow, maybe Thursday. So look out for that. It's also gonna come with a discount. There's gonna be a discount for the shipping next month. So again, look out for that. Hi mate, when does the new pricing new pricing doesn't take effect from, so it's a good question. Everyone who submitted this month, the pricing won't take effect this month. It's from July, so from the next submission. So look out for that. But again, all I'll say is just there's going to be something where I'm sure you'll be pleased in terms of the pricing and a membership that's coming in, which will help with the price increase. So look out for that for the next sub as well. So how do I submit with you? I want to submit BGS. Any idea when it will be available? Mario, yes. BGS will be available from this month. So you'll be able to submit from, I think we're going to open it on Wednesday or Thursday this week. Wednesday or Thursday this week. So if you message at the Grading Club on Instagram or email support at the Grading Club, either myself or Ronnie will tell you the full process on what you need to do for BGS, PSA, SGC, whichever services you want to use. So thank you for the question. Lots of new graders at PLS. Yeah, we had a good conversation about graders, didn't we, Kev? So let's get into it. Right, so PSA announced yesterday that there's a new PSA value tier. It's the tier everyone's been waiting for. It was welcoming news that they've opened the lower tier. Because again, you can grade a lot of PC items now. Those prices that everyone's probably got a stack of cards that they've been waiting specifically for this tier to open, and it's going to be a game changer. The other Aaron was mentioning about SGC and what it's going to do to that. What I don't think it's going to have an immediate impact. I do think more people are going to send on this tier. That's without a shadow of a doubt. But I don't think it's going to overly affect SGC. Reason being, PSA are opening this PSA value tier, which is $30. So if you go direct to PSA, so you don't use me, you don't use a middle person, you just go direct, it's going to cost you... it'll cost you the submission fee, whatever not the submission fee, the membership fee, whatever that membership fee is, plus then $30 a card after that for a year. So you only have to pay the membership once a year, and then it'll be $30 a card after that. With that, then rivals SGC's regular tier, which is also $30. So here's what I found. Oh, my phone's shit anyway. My Siri's been acting up. So the PSA value tier is now the same price as the SGC regular tier, which is $30. Now, with the turnaround times, what's worth mentioning is PSA have said that they're not going to touch those cards. So any card that's going to be submitted through me, or if you go for yourself, are not going to be touched until after the backlog is being cleared. So that's going to take at least maybe not at least 3 months, but it's going to take at least 2 months, 2 to 3 months. So they're not going to touch those cards until after 3 months. And they've put a 3-4 month turnaround time on it. Now, I think if that's the case, that they're just going to be sat at PSA for an extended period of time, not being graded, or they actually are going to be grading them in the background. What they're trying to do is, because they've got all these new graders, there needs to be work for the workers to do. So you can't clear the backlog and then start, because you need the people to be working on the card, and you also need to keep this tiered system going. So if you want to charge X amount for Super Express, and that be 3-4 days turnaround, and then the lowest tier is supposed to be a 4-5 month turnaround, you're obviously going to have a backlog of cards so that it can be worked through, right? So for me, what PSA are doing now are they're getting all these cards in, because again, there's no limit there's no limit yet for the cards that are going to be sent in. If you looked at the previous submission, so the economy tier was, at first, you could only submit, if you're just a normal person, you could only submit 20 cards every 3 days, every 2 days, and that was a lottery system. They did that for 2 months. For 3 months later, from when they began that, I think that, even 6 months later, because it started in January, 6 months later, they then um, are opening this value tier, and there's no limit to amount of cards. If you want to send in 1,000 cards, it seems you can send in 1,000 cards. And again, it's so that they can build up a backlog. So when the backlog's gone, they've then got enough work to do. That's a theory, and it kind of corroborates with what they said, that they're not touching those cards until the backlog's done. Which again, it kind of should be the way. It'd be pretty bad if they did someone else's value cards from this month first, and they didn't do the value ones from 2021. So they're going to clear the backlog first, and then they're going to do the new incoming cards. So with all that being said, it's going to be a long time, or a long-ish time, before you get your cards back. Whereas SGC, it's taking what was SGC? SGC regular is taking about 2 weeks to come back. So it depends on what your purpose of grading those cards are. If they're just PC cards and you're not bothered about them, then you might want to send them to PSA, knowing that you're not going to get them back for 4, 5, 6, 7 months. I do think as well you will get them back. So I don't think that 6 months, 7 months turns into a year, 2 years. I do think they will be able to stick to the timescales, because everything they've done this year proves that they can handle that demand now. So I do think the timescales that they will set will be achieved. But if you're looking to sell these cards, I'd think closely about where you're sending it to and why you're sending it. We've got the World Cup in July, August, September, October. We've got the World Cup in like 5 months. So if you think about it, it's absolutely touching it if those cards are going to be to come back in time for the World Cup. So have that in mind if you are looking to sell these value tiers at the World Cup, these value cards for World Cup. You might not get them back in time. It might be around that time. So just have that in mind. Just get back through the questions so I don't get too far ahead of myself. Ray, how are you, my friend? Are you over this Friday? Be good to have a chat if you are. Cheeky SGC reveal. We'll get through this, and if there's people still on after, I'll do an SGC reveal if people are still on. Well, to be fair, even if it's just one person on, I need to open them anyway. How do I sign up for the newsletter? I will send out a link. I'll put it on the story today. I'll put a link on the story today, MC, which will again, you can just sign up to it, and you'll be on the mailing list from tomorrow when I send out the newsletter. The backlog of that's just all my cards from 2020. Yeah, I think it's difficult with like graded gem, because I don't think it's following the normal process of when cards are. You'll probably, Jay, you'll know way more than me, because I don't have any cards from graded gem. But I don't think it's following the normal protocol as if you send it in yourself. I think there's a backlog, and then I think there's graded gem is just chucked every now and again. They might do a few cards. That's how it seems, because I've got the people who sent. I sent a submission February 2021, and there's people who went to graded gem at the same time, at the same level, who are still waiting for the cards. But I got mine back last month, 2 months ago. So yeah, it's just unfortunate. Hopefully you get them back soon. 4 months, 2 years of history repeats itself. I do, but you know what? Genuinely, I do think PSA have caught up. My only concern, and I've spoken to a few people about this, is the consistency in the grading. I think it's becoming more of an issue, and I think they will get to a level where people become better. This is me going on for a little tangent now, but the amount of people that they're hiring, there's no way that they're all as skilled as other grading card companies, and their and they're graders. There's no way they can be because there's too many of them. So I think the consistency in the grading, but at the end of the day, PSA is king. Like, I'm never not going to say PSA isn't king. Right now, in this format, PSA are king. Anyone who follows Gem Rate will see that PSA grading around 900,000 cards a month. Every other grader a sub 100,000. So it's night and day. Like, it's genuinely is it's two leagues at the moment. There's the Premier League, which is PSA, and then there's everyone else in other leagues. So it's not really a direct comparison. And when I was so that's why I was saying I don't think it's going to directly affect SGC, because I think the people who are using SGC now for the purposes of flipping, selling, liking this slab, I don't think that changes. All it means is PSA are probably just going to do more cards if that's the case. Ronnie wants his evening, Josh. Eden, mate, do you think SGC putting their prices up so quickly is amazing? Say SGC. So move it. So that's actually the point that I was going to come on to is SGC. So before going to the pricing, for me, SGC is one of the best companies to grade with. They for me tick all the factors. Gonna go on to the pricing, which they've increased in a minute, but CSG for me the best in terms of the different elements of a grading card company. They have history in grading, history, experience in grading. They are partnered with some really big players in the game, which is good. They pricing and turnarounds are so far unmatched, and the slabs look good. So every element of why you go to a grading card company, CSG have at least a 3 out of 5 in that box. Whereas other companies on certain things you might be able to question, CSG for me are probably the overall, if you were to have a scoring system, CSG are probably up there. I think over the next few months, a lot more people will be submitting with SGC. Sorry, I'm gonna get confused throughout this whole thing between SGC and CSG. Exactly the same letters. CSG, which are the newer labels, and I've not got any on me, but CSG, which are the newer, the ones who have just changed the labels, have history in comic books, Pokemon cards. They are the authenticators for eBay, or the parent company is, which is CGC. They're the ones who do Pokemon cards. They have a great relationship, like I said, with eBay, where most cards are being sold. eBay are releasing a vault in sometime in summer, which again is just gonna that relationship is just gonna grow stronger, because you'll be able to go from vault to CSG, which is going to make the process a lot simpler for people to get cards graded, for people to buy and sell cards. So CSG are really strong for me. And the pricing was $12 a card to get your cards graded with CSG, which was an absolute game changer. I still think it is $12 a card. They've said recently, again, another new talking point was a few days ago. They then announced that on the 5th of July they're going to raise the prices to $15. Now, at first, it doesn't sound like it's a major difference between $12 and $15. But the bulk tier, you're actually only allowed. You have a minimum. You have a minimum value of a minimum order of 50 cards. So on the bulk tier, you have to send at least 50 cards. So overall, that means that's $150, which is not to be laughed at. Is a bit of change. For me, it was a very bad idea, because they should have not many people have CSG slabs yet. Not many people have sold CSG slabs, and there's not much data around CSG yet. So they should have waited another 3-4 months at the very minimum. Get all the slabs in circulation. Just start firing all the slabs out, and then be like, wow, there is a demand for this. People are really loving CSG. Then raise the prices. There's people in this chat now who probably still never heard of CSG, and the first thing that they'll be hearing is that they've already raising the prices by I think it was like by 20%, on across all the tiers, which for me is a bit ridiculous. They're still way cheaper than the other grading card companies, and the turnaround times are actually really good. But when you hear news that they're raising the prices and people were probably skeptical of them already, it's not really a selling point when you put the prices up. So I think it was a bad move. I think my prices, I think what did I have them on there? I think it's going up to £14.50 a slab, I think. So if anyone is wanting to send to CSG, I would highly recommend sending it on the next submission, which opens in a few days. Because I'm also going to be doing a discount on that tier as well. So not only is it only going to be £12.50 a card, it's going to be at least 5% off the total submission as well. So if you're going to send cards to CSG, send them now. The consistency is awful. I'm so intrigued to see what my cracks 8 gets. Yeah, the new government apprenticeship scheme. That's quality. Yeah. And that's so that going back to PSA, because most people are in here for PSA anyway. As someone who has graded a lot of cards for PSA, the inconsistency across the board is crazy compared to the other, so compared to CSG and compared to SGC. And as I was explaining before, and I don't know if anyone's is a geek like me, SGC, the founder, did a podcast with Neo Comics. I forgot what his full YouTube page is, but it was a very good interview, and it was giving insights into how they grade cards, the team there, and how the team there, the structure, the process of grading cards through CSG, and you would assume it's a similar process through PSA, BGS. They can't be much difference, right? So when you've got a team of 20-30 people and you've got a team of PSA of 1,000 or however many they've got, I know they're keeping on hiring. As with any company, there can be a rule book and say, right, you're looking for this, you're looking for that. If you spot this mistake on here, it's gonna get an 8 or a 9, right? They've these standard rules that anyone can follow, like. You just go to type in PSA standard rules or PSA 10-point grading guide, and you'll see that each card has to fit a certain criteria. But it's still very loose, so it's open to subjectivity. So when when a new grader comes in and they're not experienced and they've not seen that same card or that same set 1,000 times, it's only the first time they've seen it, they may grade something differently. It may be there, but they may give something differently compared to a more experienced grader who's used to grading cards of that set, cards of that level, or whatever. That's just logic. That there's no right or wrong to there's no right or wrong to it, because grading is subjective, and anyone who then doubts that, they can see on the PSA on the PSA website, it says that the part of elements of the grading process is subjective. So that means it's down to that individual grader how that card may grade. people have crossed over 8s and 9s to PSA 10s before. Um, people have resubmitted the same card and got better grades. So it's not an exact science anyway. So when you're then getting a bus load of new people grading cards, you are going to get an inconsistency in grading, and sometimes sometimes it seems like it's just luck of the draw. So you just got to be wary. And again, saying in saying that, there is like a standard way to that you're looking for when you're grading a card, right? There is a standard way, and most cards would fit under that remit. It's the outliers that then come into question. It's the Formula One Topps edge peel. It's the Chronicles with maybe a damaged corner on there. It's cards pre 1996 on how they get graded and the leniency that grader has. It's the centering on certain cards that you might get away with. These different elements that you can only really know it truly through experience and grading. The things that not even probably, the things that I missed 7-8 months ago that I now know because of grading through different companies, through the cards coming back, comparing them to pre-grades, seeing what challenging PSA on certain things. So I know that now through experience on what certain cards are. I still am, I won't say a novice, but I'm still early in this, grading process, because there's thousands of sets. I deal with mainly football. I deal with mainly football. Not touched all the basketball, not touched Pokemon, but it's areas that I also want to get into. But that then means knowing more sets, understanding pop counts, volumes, this, that, and the other. So there's a lot that goes into the final grade. All that circling back to PSA is, for me, more lenient in their grading than SGC, CGC. I'm just going to catch up with comments. I think CSG will take over for TCG, Marvel, etc. After receiving the CSG subs back from you and having them in hand, absolutely quality. The new label's just brilliant. And I actually want to send an email to everyone who was on CSG, because I really want to know what people's thoughts are on the CSG. For me, it's a no-brainer. I do love CSG. PSA for sports, SGC for vintage. No idea what Beckett will do. See, so this is coming back to why I still like Beckett. I like Beckett for the subgrades. So Beckett are the only ones. Just thinking, making sure. Yeah, Beckett are the only ones that offer subgrades. CSG do a subgrade, but it's only when it's a perfect 10. But I think people like the fact of subgrades. So if you think about it, if you can grade a card cheaply, if you can grade a card cheaply for BGS. So if we're looking at the price list, also remembering that BGS, people probably won't even know this, but BGS don't charge depending on the value of the card, where PSA do. So PSA Super Express is up to $5,000. So if a card's valued between $2,500 and $5,000, it's going to cost you £280 to grade. That same card, if you went to BGS, it'll only charge you £25. So that's a benefit for BGS. You then also get the added value of subgrades with BGS. The added value of doing the subgrades is if you are looking to cross over to PSA, because again, PSA is king. People still love PSA. People are always going to love PSA. If you had 10 on each subgrade, apart from centering, which if centering was a 9, you could cross that. I'm pretty confident you'd be able to cross that over into a PSA 10. So that 9.5 BGS could be a PSA 10 for sure. Now, again, we can get into 9.5s are probably the equivalent to a 10, and BGS Pristine are better than a 10, but we won't go into that. I'm just going into kind of an overview and basics of basics of the grading companies and in kind of what are the benefits. So for me, BGS has a benefit because they do subgrades and there's not a maximum of declared value. Now, the reason why people are questioning BGS is because most of us, me included, BGS BGS wasn't around when most of us got into the hobby. So that being said, if you're not aware of BGS, if you've not had BGS slabs, if you've not sold BGS slabs, you're not going to be aware of the value that actually gets added to BGS. So at the stage, PSA was probably still one, but prior to PSA, BGS was one, and PSA was the new kids on the block. And then it was kind of 1 and 2, and then obviously over the last 2 years, BGS has been non-existent, so people have gone to PSA. So there is a value for BGS, which is why again I like them in terms of no declared value or no tiered system. It's only how quickly you want to get the cards back. And subgrades, I love subgrades because someone who I grade cards myself, so it's interesting to know where a card has faltered or where they've marked a card down. So that's to take into consideration if you're looking to grade with BGS. Right, questions coming through now, so I will shut up for a minute and answer the questions. Sent PSA 21 cards in April, and I reckon they messed up on 9 of them. Well, the simpler one, and I don't have it with me, Kev. The Zico and the Iniesta and the Haaland card. That for me is just an amateur mistake, which should not happen, especially when you go through 2 stages of quality checks. To have the wrong labels on the wrong cards is a major thing for me. And again, I do think PSA will get better in a year's time. PSA will be more consistent than they are now, but it's risking sending your cards in at this moment to possibly get a more lenient grader when 10s shouldn't be 10s, or a more stringent grader where they mark literally everything down, and it's like who's the right, because again, if you look at the grading scale, there's some things that you can get around. Like for me, print lines should be more of a thing. They don't actually mention print lines that much in the PSA grading scale, but some print lines can be heavy. So do you, depending on the grader, they may put it down as an imperfection, blemish, blah blah blah, but it's not specifically mentioned. And you kind of need that with grading standards, because it needs to be looser to encapsulate as many of the cards as possible. So I understand why it's a bit loose, but SGC by definition in terms of their grading guides are stricter graders than PSA, and that's from our own data. So me and Ronnie are looking at the data ourselves, and we're seeing that we're getting less 10s SGC than we are PSA, and that tallies up with, if you look at gem rates data, that PSA, I think I can't remember what it was. I think it was at 50% of 10s that they get, whereas SGC, I think they're around 30% gem rate, 32% gem rate, whereas PSA, I think it's between 40 and 50 or something like that. So by the numbers, the data, that SGC are harder. Now again, more people go for SGC for actually, no, that doesn't even make a difference, because the way that it's categorized is modern and then is in older grades as well. So even in the modern cards, but again, if you look at the grading scale, SGC are harsher on centering than PSA are. So again, by definition, you could send the same card, one will get a 9 SGC, but you may get a 10 at PSA, but by definition. Mike, mass expansion on the scale will always allow for inconsistencies, not too dissimilar for the Mike, absolutely. There's I'm not for me, I'm not, like speaking bad on PSA. Like you said, there has to be. When you scale something, there's going to be inconsistencies. I think it irons out over the next year, 18 months. Absolutely. But yeah, you're right. Because with scale, and they must have scaled so much. They were scaling from the beginning of the pandemic all the way up until now, which is still scaling. New facility, loads new staff, acquiring different companies. So there is going to be inconsistencies there, and I do think they tighten up on the grading aspect. But for me, it comes with experience. So it's if you send a card in now, there's a chance you get this. There's a chance you might get a nine. The chance you might get an 8. The chance you might get a 10. I've literally seen that with cards. So again, it's worth bearing in mind when you are sending it. Are you going to chance your luck and send it to PSA, or do you want to send it to SGC, BGS? It all then falls down to what the purpose of selling that card is. Like if your purpose is selling quickly, and you're not bothered about getting the top whack for the money, I would consider sending it to CSG or SGC. Yeah, SGC. Because I think with the turnaround times of SGC and CSG, make the money. A lot of us are in here because we like to sell cards. We like to sell cards to fund future cards. We like to sell cards to take our partners on holiday. The only way you do that is by getting the cards, the thousands of cards that you own, getting them graded. It's not the only way. I know it's not the only way. I'm just, again, speaking from a general sense. Getting the cards graded, and then flipping those cards or trading those cards and working your way up the ladder. I know a number of people have done it. A number of people have been doing that consistently. You'll see people like Gus doing it, Martin Card Sales on Instagram, he's doing it. You start at one level and you consistently, get to higher end cards, which those guys are getting to now. For is another example, he's graded a lot of his collection. He's going to the national, he's going to sell, he's going to grade up. With Kev, probably it's a bit of both, because Kev is got a PC, which he's doing a lot of high, like Maradona's one of his PCs, so like his cards don't come cheap. He's got a few grails that he's after, but he's then also, flipping to selling cards so he can fund other things. So again, it depends on what your purpose is should be dependent on where you end up going to in terms of a grading company. Martin C. Hello, mate. Evening. Sorry I'm late. Can we start how is CSG selling compared to the PSA Premium? So I didn't have enough data today to do that, but I'm going to do a follow-up, especially with people who've been sending through me CSG plus my own cards. So it's something that I'm definitely monitoring in terms of prices. Now, for the few that I've seen, and I don't think this is with a pinch of salt, the few that I've seen are selling at a similar rate to PSA. I don't think that's necessarily to do with it being CSG. It's more probably that there's that card's in that slab and it's selling for around about that price, so people are doing that and it's not really high end. I think where the difference comes will be in the cards that sell for £200 plus. Anything below that, which is a lot of the cards that I've been seeing, are all roughly going to be the same price anyway. So, which is good in the sense that if you're thinking of sending it to CSG for £12.50 currently, you're sending it to CSG for £12.50 and you've got a 20-day turnaround, so 3-week turnaround, or you send it to PSA Value, which is double the price and it's going to take 3 months longer, would I take 20% less to be able to get that card back and then get another card and then sell it? 1000%. I don't think that's a competition. If you offered me 25% less, and this is the way I kind of put it in my head, if you're saying, right, okay, you've got this one card, it's £100 if it's in a PSA 10. In SGC, in CSG, it's £75 that it's selling for in a 10. So that's 20. I think is that 25% less? Yeah, 25% less. If it's 25% less, remembering that card's going to be at PSA for 4 months, so you're not going to be able to make anything off that card for 4 months. CSG, you're not only saving £17 there and thereabouts. You're also going to get that card back within 3 weeks, while then 4 months. So when you get it back, you'll be able to sell it, buy another card, sell it again, and you'll be able to do that 3 or 4 times before you've got that extra 25 quid, which is not 25 quid. It's only, well, it's minus 4 quid, isn't it? No, it's 8 quid. 8 quid difference. So for that extra 8 quid, I've been able to sell the card at CSG multiple times before that card at PSA's come back to me. So it's those things that I try to consider. That's where I don't think PSA is going to make a major difference to the other grading companies. I still think CSG are going to grow. I still think SGC are going to grow. But PSA, people are gonna grade. I know, for instance, as soon as we open that PSA value tier, there's gonna be a few hundred cards. Probably, there's gonna be a good number of cards on that tier. There's gonna be a good number of cards on that because people just love PSA. There's people who won't go anywhere else other than PSA. So that's a dream for them. And if they're not bothered about cards coming back within 4 months, then you might as well use that tier. Why not? Sorry, by the way, I'm on questions from 1837. Yeah. So I might be answering questions twice, or I might have already answered your question. The same grader can grade the same card differently on 2 different inspections. 100%. Have you seen the new tag grading card company using AI computer grading? No. Actually, I don't know. I know there's one in America that are using AI. And again, there's going to be a company that comes that becomes a major player. My thinking is probably what will happen if that happens is PSA will probably acquire him if they're that good. And if they are going to be a competition, PSA will probably acquire them, so it's not really going to make a difference. And a lot of these companies, in my opinion, are breeding themselves to be acquired by PSA. Because again, you look at the other grading card companies who've been established, who were doing 80 to 90,000 cards a month, and you've got PSA doing 900,000 a month. There's not much competition, right? For a new company, you've got to build up the trust of the community in sports cards. Everyone loves a new thing. Everyone loved HGA when it came out. HGA was like amazing. They fell off. Everyone loves a new thing. Everyone loves a new thing, but it's not. It's longevity. It's experience. It's we as a community, we're very fickle. If something doesn't go right, if they mess up on customer service, if they mess up one card, it's it for them. So yeah, I wouldn't pay any attention to any grading company unless they've had a solid year of grading and maybe making mistakes and the community talking about them constantly. So yeah, but like I said, there's going to be so many more players that we're not even talking about yet that are going to come into different elements of the hobby, are going to change the game. They could be amazing, could be the next best thing, but I'm not too aware of them. PSA is supposed to be the harshest on surface, but I have always thought the sharp corners were the biggest thing for PSA. I agree with that, Martin. I think corners for me, if you've got 4 sharp corners at PSA, you've got a good chance of getting a 10, in my opinion. Do you think SGC or BGS. Not sure if I answered that earlier, Jordan, but I think I think both of them have their selling points. I like certain cards in SGC. I like the 2 week turnaround. For the Express SGC, I think that's an underutilized tier, especially if you're selling cards and flipping cards, should I say. I would 100% use that tier. BGS, once they start opening the doors, once they start getting quicker, again, because of the subgrades, I think they're going to be a major player again. Yeah, I think they're going to be a major player again. So for me, there's both. I don't have really any affiliation with any of the companies. I like them all. If it was, I'm going to be using them all. So I'm not just saying that again for grading purposes, because it would make most. It would be so much easier for me if it was only one or two grading companies that I use, not four. So in terms of me as the grading club, um, there's no. I've got no preference on which ones to use because I like them all. There's a reason why I do these and I don't do someone like HDA or tag grading is because I like each one for certain specific reasons. And I think again from the responses from other people and what other people ask about grading, it's kind of right. The people asked me about BGS when BGS started to open. When PSA opened, PSA asked me. No one asked me about HDA. Or I get one message. I think I've only ever got one message about HGA or tag grading. MGC, like there's no reason for people to come through me for MGC. So the ones that have been picked for specific reasons. So yeah, but again, always open to other things and whatever comes to the table. Mistakes happen for two reasons: either you don't know what you're doing or you're too under pressure. Yeah, and you've got to think that that's all right, Kev. You've got to think that there was 12 million or 16 million in the backlog, and your specific job is to get that backlog down. We've all worked in, well, most of us have worked in corporate environments, and you know the pressure. And you also know that the more you have to do, the less likely you're probably going to get scrutinized on one little thing. Yeah, you're going to be less scrutinized on one little thing if you're able to get. I don't even know what the turnaround time is, like 200. Your quota is 200 for the day, and you know if by the half day you've only done 50, that next 150 you've got to speed through. We've all been there, and again, um it's not disregarding PSA in any which way. It's just that scaling a business, like it's gonna happen. Oh, you pissed off. Evening, Kev. Can I use that if I take partners on holiday? I myself. I would like to sell some cards, but buying is so much better. Buying is so much better. I really do not sell cards. I did one sale. I think it was last week. I was gonna follow up. I was actually in that sale. I think I did. I did like 10 cards, and I was like, I've got like I could have done like two. I should have done like 200 cards, but I could have done low end. But I was like, I just can't be bothered. But to be fair, I've not been buying either. Cheeky SGC time. Not yet, Tates. Jesus Christ, man. If you're saying they're going to be the same price anyway, why not use a rubbish UK company? If you're saying they're going to be the same price anyway, because the I don't think the UK company, if you're on about MGC or whoever else you're on about, if for me the market's in the US, and I don't think the US will buy an MGC slab. So US no MGC, US the US customer base know SGC, they know PSA, they know BGS. They don't necessarily know MGC. Now I know Jake and MGC. I know they're doing great things at the moment, and I know they will grow. But again, I don't think they're at that level to an SGC yet. So for me at the moment, there's not a comparison. They're not in that. They're not in that league. So when I mentioned PSA are in Division One, MG, SGC, BGS Division 2, CSG Division 3, MGC and others Division 4. So I think there's a difference. But in terms of price, again, the lower end, I think things are going to be the same. So it's then what you prefer. It's then what you prefer, and it's all trial and error at the end of the day. If there's a certain card in a slab and you want it, buy the card, buy the slab. That's the old adage. You buy the card, buy the card. Buy the card, don't buy the grade. Say it's the same with the grading company. If you're after a specific card and it's in a specific grade, you in a specific slab, sorry, you're just buying the card. But again, it's one thing that I'm looking at in terms of data. What we're talking. Sorry, moving like maniac today. So if we're sending, if we send in, can you please request afternoon grading when they? Do you think SGC has more credibility than PSA? We are talking card credibility. Does that? Does more credibility? No, no. I mean, PSA are king. There's on. Put it this way: you look at the PSA comments on any post that they do, and it's them being slated. PSA gets slated every day. You go to the post, where are my cards from 2020? Why haven't you done this? No one's responding to me. And they still get 900,000 cards. They still get 1000% more cards than everyone else. So credibility doesn't really come into it that much because people are still people use them anyway. So credibility is not so much a thing with PSA. If you were talking about the other companies and taking PSA out of it, then maybe. But it's really difficult to kind of place PSA in a similar league when they get so many more cards than the other grading card companies. It's just I know where you're coming from, and credibility should be a major factor. But when you're comparing PSA to the other grading card companies, it's still a no brainer. But it's about thinking. For me, it's about thinking quicker. So it's about, okay, yes, PSA are king, and if I do send it to PSA, I will get 100% of the value, whereas if I send it to SGC, I might get 80%. Again, different cards, different eras, everything means different. There's so many factors that go into the price. But if you're talking about just the basics of it, I thinking about quicker is I'm going to send it to SGC because I'm going to get my card back quicker. I know it's going to sell, and it's going to cost me less to do so. But overall, the last year they have really dropped the ball. Uh, I mean, yeah. And that's it. You're right. You're absolutely right, Jordan. They have dropped the ball, but it's still PSA. It's still PSA. I could slate PSA. I could slate PSA till the cows come home. They still will be the number one grader by a country mile. And if you think, if they're doing this at the time when they have lost credibility, where they have messed things up, imagine when they get it right again, or not even get it right. They don't even need to get it right, but get it closer to a good stage. It could be game over for. I'm sure it'll be game over for one of the grading card companies. Which one? I have no idea. How do you submit a card to you? Hi, Peter. So if you're are you on Instagram, Peter? If you're on Instagram, if you go to @thegrading club, and just send us a message. Either myself or Ronnie will get back to you, and we'll explain the full process. But basically, all you have to do is you fill in a form of the card, the details of the card that you're sending in, and then literally just ship the card, and then we'll handle the rest after that, mate. But we can give you a more detailed explanation of the process if you just send us a message. If you don't have Instagram, you can send an email to support@thegradingclub.com. and we'll get back to you ASAP. We'll get back to you tonight if you send it today. You get 500 complaints from 900,000 or 100 complaints from 90,000. You'll hear that. Yeah, yeah. PSA, the McDonald's of the trading card world. Poor service, long queues, bad for your health. That's literally the perfect analogy. That's literally the perfect analogy. You know that you probably shouldn't support. Another one, just to piggyback off Kev with the analogies. It's like Amazon. You probably know you shouldn't buy from Amazon, but you do anyway. You know, like you should support local businesses. You hear about all the nasty stories about Amazon workers and the way they're treated, but you still buy from them, right? So it's the same unfortunately with PSA, mate. Wish it was different, but it's not. But if I send but if I send a 10 in and get a 7, then I lost money and the time. But if I send a 10 in and get a 7, then I've lost money and the time. Is that if you send it to PSA? The new tier is like a triple cheeseburger. You know you feel crap for doing it, but you fancy one. And you do it anyway. So, yeah, that's grading. So again, if you can, so just to explain them PSA, and the kind of difference and the just absolute levels. Before they opened their economy tier, which is the level up from value. So you've got the value service, which they're opening up from tomorrow. Value service is £29.50. The next service up is economy, which is going to be £47. It was £44 previously. It's £47, or £44.50. It's now £47. The PSA economy, before they opened the floodgates and said you can send in as many as you want, ours was limited to probably about 80 a month. As soon as they opened, it's quadrupled in the amount of people that want to ship cards to them. It's going to be the same when value opens. When value opens, even though it's cheaper and quicker to go to literally every other grading company, that PSA value is going to be the most popular tier. No matter what I say, and by the way, I'm waiting for the PSA value tier myself. I'm going to be sending 50 cards there. So like I'm a fan of PSA. Just because it's the best. It's the best. So I'm going to be sending to PSA value, but with this conversation, with all that we're saying about SGC regular being quicker, CSG being amazing value, BGS with the subgrades, PSA value will instantly become the number one requested tier by far. I wouldn't be surprised if it doubled any other tier of any other thing that we have. So yeah, so I would I would try and think of the reason why, Jordan, you're sending the card to the grading company that you're thinking of sending to, if that makes sense. So if you want to flip a card, flipping a card is basically because you want to get that money back quickly, because you want to put that money somewhere else. Going to PSA value, that doesn't make sense. In my opinion, it doesn't make sense. Because first of all, that tier itself, you can only do $500 in terms of the max value of whatever that card is. $500. So why wait 4 months to get that back when you can send it to another company and make more? And when I say make more money, I mean make more money because you'll be able to do multiple submissions, which will make you more money in the longer run over that 4-month period. So again, it's dependent on the purpose of you going to PSA, which will determine. It's the purpose of you sending in a card to grade, which will determine where you go. Hopefully that makes sense. What's the max value cards that they take? Oh, sorry, Greg. I think I just answered your question there. So it's $500. $500. For which is that's, to be fair, it's something that I need to consider, because clear up PSA say it's 499, so I'm going with what PSA say. But the other grader group submitters, they're saying 299, which I don't know, doesn't make sense. And they came out before PSA, so I don't know why they've said that. I actually need to check today to see if they've responded. So yeah, it should be $499, and the declared value, for anyone who doesn't know, is declared value is after it's being graded, not before. It's after it's being graded. Is there a minimum for BGS? Minimum in terms of the amount that you send in, if that's what you mean, mate. No. If you want to send in one card, you can send in one card. If you're on about the declared value, again, there's no minimum or maximum of declared value with BGS. So yeah, I again, for anyone who's on now, look out for the newsletter. I will be sending out. Maybe I might not be able to get it out tomorrow, but Thursday, and I'm going to detail all this in there as well. When we're open, their new membership tiers, which again hopefully will help most people sell, especially if you're looking to grade regularly, it will definitely save you a lot of money. But if you're just a one-off grader and you only grade maybe one or two every month or something like that, it might not be as worthwhile. But still check it out. And I put all that information into the newsletter, which will be released by Thursday. So just keep an eye on the notifications from the grading club, and you will see that. What time are we on now? 10 past, right. So we've got 5 more minutes, because like I said, there is Card Kings doing a case break, which will be fun to watch. There's also England versus Germany. Come on. So that's going to be on my TV very shortly. And that's it. So again, I just wanted to do this to give you an overview of the grading companies and not to just be overwhelmed by PSA, which is PSA is a fantastic thing. And again, this is genuinely this is complete transparency in say it makes more sense for people to go through, because of the cost, to go through PSA value for me. As a business, it makes way more sense for me to push PSA value than it is CSG value. I'll make way more on PSA value than I would CSG value. But for me, is someone who's a collector who likes to flip cards as well. I say like to flip cards. I like the idea of flipping cards, which I should do more. I need the money, so I need to flip cards. But I would prefer CSG. We've got the London Card Show coming up. I think CSG is a play for the London Card Show. The amount of families that are going to be there, having these low end slabs from a company that are doing big things internationally, big things in America. I think CSG at the price point, absolutely amazing. So yeah, so for me, I just make sure you know why you're sending it to the grading company that you're choosing to do, and don't think that, oh well, if I send it to PSA, I might get it back in 2 weeks. You will categorically not get it back anytime soon. It's going to be at least 3 months. And have that in mind, and that's based on the cards that I'm currently getting back. Economy's taking about 10 weeks, 12 weeks. That's the tier above value. So again, have that in mind. They are getting quicker, absolutely, but imagine how many people are going to be sending in value. Imagine how many people are going to be sending in value. So it could be a while. So just have that in mind. If you're not bothered about the turnaround time, then PSA is the one. But if you're wanting to get cards back, definitely for the World Cup. If you're wanting to get cards back because you want to flip cards that you've just got sat round doing nothing, PSA value might not be the one. And also as well, there's only a certain tier, so there's only the declared value. If you get a 10 in that card should only sell for $500. So again, have that in mind. Yeah, have that in mind. Oh, cheers, Matt. Thank you. What's for dinner? Do you know what? I actually don't know what's for dinner. I've been working all day. I've not even really spoke to my missus today. So I'll I will see. I might be doing it myself. I have no idea. I usually have an idea as well, don't I? I should have. Damn it. Actually, you know what it should be? I should be doing I should be having fajitas tonight because Kev, I joined Man versus Fat. I joined Man versus Fat. My team's name is Borussia Moobs and Back Fat. I've joined at the absolute perfect time because they're one game away from winning the league, and that's this Thursday. So if I play in that game, I get a medal, and I'm probably only going to play about 2 minutes. But we have to do this thing where we have to make something for under 700 calories. So I should actually be doing fajitas tonight. But anyway, that's another conversation. RP me getting ones back from graded gem. Oh, Aiden, I know. Hopefully you will get them back. Hopefully you will get them back very soon, my friend. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. Do you know what the thing is? It's not even about getting them. Uh, It's not even about getting them back. It's about the level of cards that are there. Like honestly, when I got my submission back, it was awful. It was dreadful. It was absolutely dreadful. Time. Oh, let me get Tate's cards. Otherwise, it's gonna kill me. SGC or CSG for profit margins. I think they'll be close, Jordan. I think they'll be really close. Genuinely. But like I said, come back. Honestly, Jordan, me and Ronnie, we're looking at data at the moment. We've not got enough to confidently say, oh, it's selling better in SGC or CSG. You need a lot of data points to make sure you get an accurate. There's no point in me just saying, "Oh yeah, it sells better in SGC or it sells better in CSG," just to say or just to push something. At the moment, I have no idea. CSG only came out with a new label. Slabs are only just starting to hit eBay. Auction houses, so it's probably going to be a month before we can get something substantial enough to say it does better over here. But it is something that we're looking at. So SGC reveal better. Well, I need to get some over to you sometime. Need to pull my. Yeah, Aiden, anytime, man. We need to catch up. It's been fucking ages. Right, let me that was it for the grading. So thank you for everyone who lives and stuff. Thank you for everyone who was here for the grading portion of it. I'm talking about grading. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to um email me or Ronnie. You can find us at the Grading Club, or you can email us at support@thegradingclub.com, and we'll happily answer any questions that you have about grading or the grading companies. I said sometimes it's a lot to get through, but once you start grading, I love it. I absolutely love it. Big Oh, Ronnie's a stat man. I love it. Ronnie is an absolute stat man. So he's actually working. Yeah, he's working on it. Because we got a few good things coming up. Got a few good things coming up. Right. What I'm gonna do is, because I'm gonna need to change the configuration of the camera, is I'm going to. So I'm gonna do a lot of this. We'll be watching back. Yeah, Mark, absolutely. It's going to be saved to YouTube and Twitch, mate. So feel free to watch back. And if there's any questions that you have, like I said, email me or Ronnie, and or just speak to me or Ronnie, and happily answer anything that you need. So right now we're going to do an SGC reveal. I need to give me 2 minutes to set up because I need to set up now for SGC. So thank you very much. This is just the grading one. I'm going to come back within 5 minutes to do SGC reveal. We've got an SGC Express reveal. Got about 50 cards to go through. Some absolute beauts on there. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you have a good evening. Come on, England. And yeah, we'll speak to you next week, hopefully. See you later, guys. Oh, that's a good shout. I'll do it on Insta. That's a good shout, Kev. I'll do it on Insta. Yep. I'll do the SGC reveal on Insta. Right. See you later, guys.